Alright, what's going on, everybody? This is Mark G with thegordonexchange.com, and right now I'm sitting here in the lobby of the hotel with my man Aries Spears. How you doing, man?
What up?
Appreciate you coming out.
You got it, baby.
Doing this for me. I appreciate it while you down.
Yes, sir. Yes,
here
sir.
in Columbus. So I want to get it started off with, first off, I'm doing my research on you and everything.
Right.
First thing I saw was, I thought you was a New York dude. You from New York?
Yeah.
Okay. Wikipedia says you from Chicago.
Wikipedia say a whole lot of things. Wikipedia might tell you I run the clan.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm like, I don't think that's accurate, but I wanted to ask you about it. Okay.
No, that's why I sport Tim's and a hat.
Right.
Symbol on it all day, every day.
So New York born and bred.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So growing up in NY, how was it just as a kid, man? Like, what are some of the things you did, some of the stuff you like to do coming up?
It's funny, man. Like, I've been doing stand-up for 26 years, and often when I go to certain parts of the country, like in the Midwest or down south, even certain places on the southeast, people will always ask me, yo, man, what do you think of my city? What do you think of? And it's, it's hard not to be biased because, look, man, I'm from New York. I live in LA and I've been to Miami.
Yeah.
So when you've been when you've inhabited those three places, everywhere else the volume gets turned way down.
Right.
Because New York, I always tell people, the city itself is a celebrity. It's like people go to New York and they take pictures of the buildings and Times Square and the Garden. So it's like the city itself is its own personality.
Yeah.
So when you come up in that kind of environment with that kind of fast-paced and there's a certain swagger and a slickness and an attitude to New York and a mentality you have to keep you sharp and on your toes. You can't help but love it. And it's such a diverse place because there's so many different cultures, and you could be on one street and walk up 2 blocks and be in a whole nother country.
Totally different
You know what
place.
I'm saying? So because I got a chance to absorb all that coming up, there's no place like New York. New York's in my heart, but then again, LA is so fly because the women, the weather, and the weed, bro.
Yeah. Women, weed, and weather. That's what they say.
It's always nice to all the chicks are groomed to try to be actresses, singers, dancers,
right?
Performers, models. So you're getting women that are just outright gorgeous, and like I said, the weed is potent, the weather is nice. And then if you go to Miami, which I don't even call Miami, I call it me mommy, because if you in the Latin women, and my son's mother is Puerto Rican, so if you in the Latin flavor, Latin ambiance, Cuban food, that whole scene, and you've been to those 3 places, man, it's hard to enjoy Iowa,
right,
or certain other parts of the country. I don't want to say the names because I might have to go there and work, so I don't want to shit when I eat.
Right.
But yeah, ain't nothing like New York, man.
Yeah.
And growing up as a kid, man, just being in that, you got to be on your toes, man. You got to be quick. You got to be swift, because things move at a fast pace, and it's a dangerous city. So.
Now, did that help you as far as like with the comedy, having a quick wit?
Oh, most definitely.
You know what I mean?
It's funny. Jay-Z, in one of Jay-Z's songs, he goes, "New York, home of the spitters." You know what I mean? And it's just like, and I'm a diehard rap fan. I mean, I'm 40, so my rap card about to be over.
Yeah.
I'm
changing, man.
Holding on.
It's changing.
Skinny jeans, man. Come on, niggas, knock that off.
It's changing.
If you wearing skinny jeans, you wearing leggings. I mean, ain't no pants supposed to show the muscle or the shape of your thigh.
But if you say something, like, cause I'm 34, so it's like if you say something, though, it's like you hating on the new generation or something. But
that's the climate we live in now. Everything, if you don't agree or flow with the stream of the river,
right?
If you go against the tide, you hate it. So but to answer your question, man, New York, you asked me, did it help me?
Just with the comedy and having to be quick with it and all that.
Yeah, you gotta be swift on your toes mentally. And I always say, when I'm on stage, whether I'm talking to a chick or whether I'm talking to a heckler in the crowd, it's like we playing tongue tennis.
Yeah.
And my serve is vicious. You know what I mean? I got a Serena swing. So it forces you to have to be quick. And that's what I love about going up there. Because when we played the Dozens coming up and did the mama jokes, if you wasn't quick, you got buried.
Yeah, it was a wrap.
So thank you, New York, for that.
Now, when did you know that comedy was gonna be it? Did you have a moment? Was it a certain time where you was like, okay, this is what
Yeah,
I
when I
want to do.
failed at boxing and rapping. I felt like I always wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how I was going to go about it. You know, I grew up watching a lot of boxing through my pops, who was a huge Ali fan. So I developed a love for boxing. But then you got to do that whole training thing.
Yeah.
Getting in shape thing. And I come from parents from Mississippi and Tennessee, so food got in the way.
Right.
And then I thought I was going to be an MC, but, you know, rap is such a hard art form, and I respect it too much. And maybe if I really put in the time, I think I could be good enough at it to make some noise. But again, home of the spitters. I look at Nas, Jadakiss, Jay-Z, Biggie, Rakim, KRS-One, and to be that lyrical and to be that great, I think that's a gene that has to be in you. And I think I have traces of the gene, but I don't have the condition. You know what I mean? But look. You know, 2 Chainz, I read a lyric where he said something about his watch is so dope, shout out to my watch. My stove is so dope, shout out to my stove. So I think I could do it.
Yeah. I mean,
that nigga's the minute bowl of rap.
If this is the time right now to get in, if you want to get in.
It's weak right now.
You know,
you can
you
make
gotta
some
have a fire
noise.
beat. All you gotta do is have a good beat.
Listen, on my Showtime special, Hollywood Look I'm Smiling, for those of you who have seen it, for those of you who haven't, get it. It's Hollywood Look I'm Smiling. At the end of this show, I do a music parody of a southern rapper named Big Bugger Boogaloo. And my song is called F a Book, Look at My Dance. And the whole thing is what you just said. You got a catchy hook.
That's all
and a dance that, you know, 6-year-olds could vibe to. You too can be a rap star.
Yep. That's the climate of it now, man. Like you said, my card, I'm holding on to it, but it is what it is,
Once you start getting 40, man, time to pull them pants up and go on some jazz music.
Now, do you remember your first time on stage telling jokes?
Yeah, actually, my mother, my sister, and myself went down to the Improv in New York. And at that time, to get on, you had to basically draw your number out of a hat. So all 3 of us put our numbers in. None of us got picked. So I was discouraged that day, but then somebody referred to me, Uptown Comedy Club in Harlem. So we, you know, jumped on a train, went uptown to Harlem, and I got on stage for the first time. And I didn't even do no jokes. I just did impressions. And I did a I think I did a Jack Nicholson, James Brown, something else impression of them doing Pepsi commercials. And it went well. And keep in mind, I was 14 at the time. So it was really silly. But it went well. And the bug, I was bit by the bug, man. And I've been with it ever since.
Now, I know you said you started when you were like 14. So what was the time frame between that and like was Def Comedy Jam your break?
It was my TV debut. It's 2 years. I started when I was 14. I did Def Jam when I was 16. And then I did Showtime at the Apollo when I was 17. And then from there I moved out to LA and voila.
Now I was actually my next question. When did you know, like after, you know, killing the scene in NY doing the clubs, when did you know LA was the next move where you needed to be out there?
You know, I was kind of in transition. My first manager was I can't remember her name, but her daughter used to be on the show Give Me a Break with Nell Carter. And her mother was a manager out of Pennsylvania. So I kind of toyed with her for about less than a year. But then by the time, you know, Def Jam kind of went around, I had Dave Chappelle's old manager, Barry Katz, he was interested in me. Russell Simmons was talking about doing something with me. And I ended up signing with Norm Nixon, Debbie Allen's husband, because he was managing.
B-ball? Basketball player?
Yeah, he was managing Carlos Mencia at the time and a couple of other acts. So he flew me out to L.A. I stayed at his crib, and I was, you know, I got caught up. I was like, yeah, this is it.
Now, when did Mad TV come about? How long after being out in LA did you?
I got Mad TV when I was 22. And it was funny because back then, the way that it worked was if a television network saw you perform and they liked you, they gave you what was called a holding deal. So they would give you all this money to take you off the market so nobody else could tie you up. So, but they don't do that no more. But back then, I probably, for my like 5 years, was in holding deals with every major network. So I had probably made close to $1 million without ever having done anything, in TV. It's just every time my one deal was up, as soon as my deal was up with ABC, I signed with NBC. When NBC was over, I signed with CBS. So after a couple failed pilots, I finally got around to Mad TV at like 22 years old.
Okay. Do you think, because that whole time that y'all was doing the show, it was always the comparison to
Saturday night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Was that fuel for y'all? Did y'all trip on it? Did y'all care? You know what I mean? Or was y'all just doing y'all own thing?
I'll put it to you like this.
You're the only power.